Hi, this is Gavin from FE News. I'm here at EPA Live talking to some of the interesting speakers on the stage, to people in the audience to get the latest developments in endpoint assessment. So this is Gavin from FE News. I'm here with Lucy Dunleavy from LearnBox. Lucy, can we talk about the future of learner and learner engagement?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, thank you very much, Gavin. It's nice to be here today. So the modern learner, who are they and how do they like to learn and what are their traits? The modern learner is all of us, any age, because of the rate of technological change. We have to keep learning. It's an economic imperative and it's a life imperative really that we need to keep learning to keep up. The modern learner, all of us today, we are distracted, easily distracted, we're overwhelmed, constantly on various devices, using technology, but we're quite savvy, so we're trying to make the best use of our time. We want to learn things at a time that suits us in the quickest format possible, that engages us, that keeps our attention span and allows us to learn something as quickly as possible and then put that into practice. So for example, if somebody wanted to learn something quite quickly, like, I don't know, decorate the house or fix their car or something like that, they would Google it, they'd watch, a YouTube clip or something like that, rewind, rewatch it as many times as they needed to until they've actually grasped it and put that into practice. And people are teaching themselves all sorts of things these days, just using that form of media.
And basically, lifelong learning is continuously developing, isn't it? Like you said, if you want to learn how to change a light bulb in a certain fixture, you go on YouTube. If you want to know how to, lay a floor, you can YouTube it, which is great. What can the sector learn from that? Because the sector should be all about lifelong and continual learning. Yep. But sometimes we are still a little bit set in classroom base. How can we take the learning out of the classroom and learn to engage learners in their everyday life?
Definitely, and I think this is a perfect time while we as all modern learners are using technology, using our phones to teach ourselves things all the time. We should, as a sector, be trying to teach learners in the same way. So accredited learning, short, bite-sized, to the point, giving them the information they need to then go and put that into practice so that they can learn, they can gain the knowledge and then act on it and put that into their workplace. So it speeds up that process and allows them to become a really useful employee. And also at the rate of automation that's going to replace many jobs, it's also going to add lots of new jobs as well. So employees need to be able to adapt and carry on learning, transfer those skills into other areas to keep themselves in employment. And again, if they can learn something quickly and easily and keep up with that by using technology as a vehicle, that will keep them in as a lifelong learner, but also keep them in employment as well.
I know you do a lot of work engaging video content for learners to deliver functional skills, for example, which is really interesting that's you're using video in that delivery model and the success rates are fantastic. What other areas do you see the future of engaging learners in different ways? Because 10 years ago we wouldn't have thought of that. So what do you see the future to be in new ways of engaging learners, what we need to be taking forward?
Okay, well I think from a functional skills point of view, maths and English, they're the basics, so that's why it was so important to us to create a course that allowed adults that weren't comfortable in classroom environments, and let's be honest, as adults none of us really want to feel like we're going back to school, so it was about offering them an alternative way to learn, and as you've mentioned, the success rates sort of speak for themselves that is how they want to learn. But for me, on top of that, as to what should we be teaching people, the World Economic Forum lists the top 10 skills of the future of what people need to be successful employees. They are things like creativity, problem solving, critical thinking. They're the sorts of things that we should be teaching, not just in the sector and not just employment and not just adults. Really, they should be being taught and them skills should be brought out in schools as well. We've got 65% of pupils in schools today that are going into jobs that don't even exist yet. So what are we teaching them? Obviously the fundamentals, particularly maths and English, need to be there for them to be able to sort of survive and to be able to communicate effectively. But the other skills that are necessary for them to be a suitable employee and be able to keep up with the rate of technology, they're the things that we should be bringing out at all levels and at all ages.
And as you said, we're training people for jobs that don't exist yet. How do we start to go about teaching people to learn? Because we're using our cell phones YouTube in particular is a way to engage and learn on everyday things. How can we teach people to learn and to use, because technology is progressing, so who knows what 10 years, what people are going to be using to learn. From what you've learned with the journey you've been on so far, what ways can we teach people to learn?
That's a really good question. It's the whole, take the horse to water, but how do you make it drink? And we talk about that a lot as a team, as how, you can take the learners to the water, but how do you make them drink? How do you make them thirsty to learn? And from our point of view, it's about trying to give them a style of learning that they want to learn with. So if they're teaching themselves things at a weekend, like how to play a guitar or how to decorate or any of those sort of things that they're finding online, which are short, bite-sized, engaging video pieces often, we're trying to take accredited learning and bring it to them in that same sort of style and format, so it kind of feels the same, so that they can apply that. And it needs to be easily digestible, engaging, so that then it works in line with what they're doing in the workplace. So if they come across a problem, they can then, right, okay, I need to know how to do that. They can find that on a system, they can watch the video, and they can go, right, I know what I'm doing now. They can put that into practice, they can record how that's worked, they can create video diaries and feedback on how they've found things, and they can just notice their own progress within that. But it is through, jumping on the bandwagon, if you will, while people are teaching themselves how to learn in lots of other areas, again, trying to bring that back into the accredited learning, so they're also learning skills that are relevant for employment as well.
I hope you enjoyed this podcast. Why not click subscribe so you can be informed when the latest next individual podcasts or podcast mini-series from FE News are going to be released.